What is up, everybody? The Hunter GT, and today we are looking at the 5-inch double D coil from Fisher for the F5. Well, wait a minute, Hunter, you don't have an F5 metal detector, do you? No, I do not. This is connected to the Bounty Hunter Land Ranger Pro. Well, how can that be, since the Fisher F5 has a screw-on connector on the new models that you buy out of the store? Well, let me answer that question. This one has a push-on connector because the early Fisher F5 had a push-on connector before First Texas made the decision to move on to the screw-on connectors for the Technetics, the Fisher F5, the Technetic Greek series, the Alpha, Delta, Gamma, Omega. They all had the push, well, the Alpha and the Delta anyways, they, I know, had the push-on style early and now have the screw-on connector as well. And the screw-on connector looks like that. It has the thread here that spins. Let's get it in focus there. There we go. So it has the thread that spins, and it is a screw-on type compared to this push-on type that has no thread and just connects. Well, how does the F5 coil work with the Land Ranger Pro? It is because they are both 7.8 kilohertz machines. Alright, so they are both identical as far as frequency. The new Pro series from Bounty Hunter, the Land Ranger Pro, excuse me, the Quick Draw Pro, the Lone Star Pro, and even the Platinum, Titanium, and Gold all have the push-in style connector, and they are all 7.8 kilohertz frequency as well. So their coils can interchange as well, since they are all push-in. And also the early F5 that is push-in before it went to the screw-on, those are compatible as well. And as I said, the Technetics Alpha and Delta had the push-on style early. I don't believe the Gamma or Omega ever did. I want to say those were always screw-in. I could be wrong. But those two, the Alpha and Delta early models, had the push-in as well, and of course are 7.8 kilohertz as well. Now for the screw-on types, I'm going to get into all of that, this coil talk with the push-in versus screw-in style here in a future video. Okay, so this is the little adapter I made. It works perfectly. I can tell you that I swapped this F5 coil onto the Gold Bug and it worked perfectly. Absolutely no issues at all. So in my opinion, they're the exact same coil. They just changed the end from push on to screw on. The coil that the Gold Bug and the Fisher F5, the 5-inch DD that you can buy for Technetics, I think they're all the same. The one you can get for the G2, all that, they're all the same basically. Same coil. No difference in air tests, no difference in anything. So it'll be interesting to see what we get here today on the Bounty Hunter Land Ranger Pro with this Fisher F5. So that's what we're going to focus on today. I don't want to get too confusing with all the coil talk, screw in to push in. Just know if you have a push in style coil or detector that is a Fisher F5, a Bounty Hunter Pro series, or the Titanium, Platinum, Gold, or if you have a Technetics Alpha or Delta with the push-in, those are all interchangeable and you can swap them out as they are all 7.8 kilohertz machines. So just a little tidbit for you guys. I'll get into the whole screw-in, push-in connectors and all the machines. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to dedicate a whole video to the whole First Texas coil fiasco. And First Texas, of course, owns Bounty Hunter, Fisher Labs, and Technetics. They make all of those detectors. They're the parent company, basically. So I'll be getting into that in a video upcoming here in about a week. So stay tuned for that, and we can nerd out on the whole coil situation. However, today we're just going to get into this Fisher F5 coil. So let's get on to some air testing and some depth tests in the dirt, and also some garage testing with some separation and masking, recovery speed, yada yada yada. Enough babbling as always, let's get to some results. Alright guys, on to the air tests. Here we have the usual suspects, all the clad row here, quarter, nickel, copper, zinc, and a dime. And then we have a 10K ring and the little BB that I always like to use. So right now I have it maxed out in coin mode. So we're going to listen to the different tones here, and let's start with the dime. We're good to about 6.5 on that. Zinc. About 6 inches on that one. Copper, and you could hear it was doing low tone on zinc. It does that in the coin mode. And here is the copper. About 7 inches. And I just factory reset it too, did the reset on it, so it is at stock settings directly out of the box here that we are messing with. Oh. And here comes the nickel, if I can get a hold of it. Looking about 5.5 on the nickel. Doesn't really like nickels too much in the disc mode. And here we go with the quarter. Clear out to about 7.5, almost 8 on that. And now let's go ahead and bump it to jewelry mode real quick. So there we are from C to mode J. And let's get this 10K ring going. About 7 inches. Hitting it real good at 7, cuts off after that. Alright, so there are some of the tests with the stock manual settings. Let's go ahead and bump it over to all metal. I'm not going to run through every mode. I'm sure you guys want me to go through disc 2 and 3 and 4 and all that, but for the sake of time, guys, let's just call it a day with those modes here. It's pretty damn close to what you're going to see in the other modes with the stock discrimination set, you know, everything the way it is here in mode 3 and 4. So we're going to go to all metal, and it is at sensitivity 10 still. Let's double check. Yep, there we are, and it's pretty stable. A little bit of chatter here and there, but pretty surprisingly stable for maxed out indoors with, you know, I got a bunch of can lights up here. There's what, 2, 4, 5 of them running above my head. Air conditioner's running. You know, refrigerator is right here next to it running. So yeah, there's definitely some stuff going on here electromagnetically, and it's fairly stable. A little bit of chatter here, but let's get at it. Here's the dime. Definitely good at 7.5. Starts to cut off at 8. Zinc. Sounds like we're good, cleared about 8 inches or so. We're getting some falses. You hear it. But you can hear, I mean, you can tell when I'm doing the coin compared to that. So we'll call that about 7.5, 8 as well. Seems to be the norm from our preliminary testing, 7.5, 8. Copper. Seven and a half, 8. Nickel. That's 8.5. Whispers at 9, so definitely 8.5. It really likes the nickel in all metal mode compared to the disc mode or the coin mode. And here is the quarter. Definitely 8.5 on that. 10K ring. And this is a real thin ring, guys. Let's look at this. So it's like just about a 1/16 of an inch wide, not much further than that. So a fairly small ring here. Definitely at 8. Boy, excuse me, had a moment of puberty there at age 40. Woo! I wish. And here we go with the BB. Definitely at 3 inches. 3.5. And 4. Starts to cut out at 4. So definitely 3.5. That's pretty sensitive on a small BB. So there you have it. All metal. We're hitting 8 inches, 7.5, 8 on most coins, 8.5 on the nickel and quarter. So 7-8 inches on a 5-inch DD coil on an air test. I'll take that any day. Pretty darn decent. Pretty thrilled with that. It actually beats the gold bug on an air test. You'll see that in the upcoming gold bug review that I'm going to be throwing up this week as well. And keep an eye out, like I said, for that adapter video coming up as well for the push-on screw-in connectors. So 2 great videos coming up. Keep an eye out for those. So pretty impressed with this 5-inch coil. You know, same coil as the gold bug according to my testing of swapping them with my adapter. However, let's go ahead and turn this off. The Land Ranger Pro really likes coin size objects a lot better than the gold bug does. You know, and the gold bug's made for sensitivity. This is made more for a jewelry coin shooting machine, and we are getting quite nice numbers here with this air test. So pretty pleased, pretty pleased. Let's go out to the garage and run through a couple what am I looking for? Unmasking, separation, recovery speed type tests, and goof around on Monty's nail board real quick, and then we'll tear off to the backyard in my super awesome soil and see what sort of damage we can do to these air test numbers compared to in the ground numbers. Alright, let's get at it. Okay guys, here we are outside and we have Monty's nail board test, a little bit raised. I want to try to reduce the rebar in my concrete if there is any. It picks up a little bit in all metal. So there it is, we have it disced out, no iron, and there's the penny. So we're looking for 67, 68. Let's put the detector down and put the penny. I don't have an Indian head penny, so I'm just using a copper here. So that goes right there. And let's see if we can pick it up. I have it in disc 2. You can run it in coin mode or whatever mode you want for your testing, but I run it in disc 2. I like the VCO tone, so let's see if it picks it up here. And before I start, let's just say that Monty's nail board test is a brutal test. It's not what you're going to find in a park or anything like that. It's ridiculous to think that average conditions are like this unless you're just at a crazy iron-infested relic site. This is not a relic machine, so take this with a grain of salt, okay? Here goes pass 1. Pass 2. Picking it up, pass 3. Picking it up there, and pass 4. Picking it up, no problem. However, so it's picking it up on audio, no problem. As you saw, the nails, nothing on the nail. And then if you go over, it's picking up that. Look at the ID. We were looking for that 67, 68, right? Well, bounces around quite a bit, obviously. So let's check pass 3. See, it's down in the 30s and 40s on almost every pass but pass 1. And here's pass 2. So all the directions basically, here's 4 just to be thorough. As you can see, it brings it down into the high 20s, 30s, and even the 40s. This really starts bouncing it around. We're not getting that solid 67, 68 that we get when it is over here just sitting on the ground. Let's so as you can see, it's real steady. 66, 67, the dime, 66, 67, and the quarter, way high. So dime and penny pretty much the same. A lot of machines do that. But you saw what it did. So not the greatest as a relic machine in nail-infested areas. But however, I'm going to show you why I think it's pretty good for parks, jewelry hunting, trashy parks, school grounds, and whatnot. I mean, you can use it in a relic site. Just bump it to mode 2. Now I wasn't using it in coin mode because since it bumps the ID down from the 60s down into the 30s, you hear nothing but the low tone. You don't hear the high tone. So I just put it in disc 2, which is VCO only. Then you can still adjust your notch, you can adjust your tone break or whatever. I would just, if you want to use it as a relic machine, disc 2 for the VCO only, bump it up so iron is only gone, and then you know that even though if the ID's junk and bouncing around, hey, it's not an iron target most likely, it may be something cool that you're getting. So anyways, doesn't pass Monty's nail board test, pretty terrible at it actually, but not a relic machine. If you want to use it as a tone-only machine, like a Tesoro, and I'm not making comparisons, like a Tesoro or a older bounty hunter that is just a beep and dig, you can still use it for that. It still will pick up the targets covered in iron. It will unmask them very well, actually, this 5-inch coil for tone only. On the ID, it can't keep up with all that nastiness. So let's do a little recovery speed. So pretty nice on that. And here's one thing I want to show you. Here's a nickel here. So got my fancy socks on today, guys. Check them out. Got to show you those. All right, got my nickel here, and I want to show you a lot of machines. You know, people say, "Oh, I can't tell the difference between a nickel and a pull tab." Well, you can't on audio, but on ID on this one, this is where the ID shines on the Land Ranger Pro. Let's watch this. So the nickel. $34, $35. Here I have 4 pull tabs. 2 older style ones, different shapes. Notice the shape difference on the pull part. And here is one without the tab connected. You get a lot of those, with and without the tab, older style. And then here's a new one off a newer can. So we got 4 different styles here. Let's see what we're getting. We're looking for a 34, 35 on the nickel. Let's see what we get here. 37, 37. 41, 42 on that one. 38, 39. 37, 38. So none of those are 34, 35. Now, of course, in the ground, they're going to waver even a little bit more and jump around. However, you can definitely tell the difference in most occasions. So especially if you have super good soil, not a very trashy site, you're going to be able to tell the difference between a nickel and a pull tab. Okay, definitely, definitely. And lift the coil if you can't tell. The nickel, watch this when I lift the coil up a little bit. Okay, so we start at 34, 35. We lift the coil, notice how it lowers. We get a lot of 30s, 31s. None of these will do that. If you start to lift the coil, it actually goes higher. 36, 37. Oh, this one's making a bit of a liar, but 36, 37 up close. lift the coil, and you start to see it bump up to the other. There we go. See the 40s, and then this one, it stays in the 40s. These two, lift the coil, starts to jump up. 39, stays high. This one stays high. It starts to jump a little lower, but still 35. See the 40s, 37. Stays in its range. High 37s, 38s. This, raise the coil, look at that. 20s. That's the way to tell the difference between a nickel and a pull tab with the Land Ranger Pro. Works with the 11-inch DD as well. Lift the coil a little bit. If it starts to lower the number, it's a nickel. If it keeps the same or starts to raise a little bit, it's most likely a pull tab, okay? Nickels are 34, 35 with both of my coils. That's what you're looking for. All right, guys, that's enough for Monty's nail board test. You know, one more thing I want to show you why it's pretty good in trashy areas as well. So there's the penny. Let's cover it up with a nickel, and we'll even cover it up with a pull tab. We'll bump the disc up here all the way high to like 50. Let's see what happens. Well, we're still getting it. ID's not perfect. It lowered by about 10, 8 or so. So let's take the pull tab off. That's better. 63. Let's take that off, and there's the 67, 68, 66, 67, I'm sorry. That we're looking for. So, pretty neat. It will definitely find stuff underneath pull tabs, directly on top of them. And even stay pretty constant with the ID, unlike with the nails and stuff. So, great trashy park, great school, modern type stuff. Great for clad. I mean, it'll hit the old stuff as well too. You know, if silver's there, it's going to hit it. So, especially if you live in a shallow area where stuff doesn't go too deep. But anyways, enough babbling. That is the indoor testing. Let's move outside real quick and see what the worst possible soil in the United States can do to this coil and how much we can terrorize this unit. Let's go. Alright guys, here we are in my weed infested backyard for the depth test, and as you can hear, if I lift the coil in the air, nothing. It's sensitivity 10, a little bit of chatter here and there, but pretty quiet. Put it down on the ground, and you can see all the little bits of iron that ring up 5, 10, 15. Some of the worst soil, as soon as I lift it, quiets right down. So some of the worst soil ever, guys. It really impedes the depth. So we're going to go to disc 2. I have it to sensitivity 10. Volume, we'll crank it up so you can hear. Disc level is at 20, so iron is gone. As you can hear, for the most part, it's pretty chatter-free now. Still some iron that pops high here and there. Pretty terrible soil, guys, I'm telling you. So let's go here. 4-inch dime. Oh, we gotta make sure we're ground balanced. Yep, there we go. Good one. There we go. It hits it, but as you notice, the ID is way high. $1.25. Bounces around quite a bit. 4-inch nickel. Doesn't even want to touch that. So, 4-inch quarter. Still high. But we're getting nice 81s, 82s in there. Not quite as bad. 6-inch stuff now. 6-inch dime. Doesn't touch it in disc mode. 6-inch nickel. Doesn't touch it. And the 6-inch quarter. we're getting little pops here and there. So, not really, nothing there. So, as you can see, air tests are quite fantastic. And if you watch my Land Ranger Pro review, you could see with the 11-inch DD, I was getting past a foot with the quarter in all metal mode, and it would just come out here. And I gotta be honest, I struggle on a 6-inch quarter on ID with the 11-inch DD, and even a 4-inch dime with the 11-inch DD. So this actually does a little, it's comparable to the, I mean, I'm picking it up, the 4-inch dime, but just like the 11-inch DD, this iron just terrorizes, like the nail board test you just saw, the iron just kills the ID. Not much I can do about that, guys. I have terrible soil here in eastern Colorado, as I always trumpet. I shouldn't say trumpet. It's more of a dying cat noise that my trumpet is playing about this soil. So yeah, as you can see, it really hurts in the depth. You are probably not going to have these sort of issues unless you live in like gold bearing mine. If you have a lot of mines around you and a lot of minerals that they're tearing out of the earth around you like I do, yeah, you might not have the best of times with this detector. If you live in a pretty mild area where you have nice flat rolling hills or whatnot, and there's not a whole lot of mines going on, yeah, you're probably gonna enjoy this detector and get some pretty good depth out of it. So take it with a grain of salt. The 11-inch DD on the review and this 5-inch, my soil really hurts it. So the air tests are fantastic. As soon as you hit the soil, it just kills it. I gotta be honest, it's to the point where it has me, for my situation, I mean, I really want to like this detector, and I do. I mean, I do. I love this detector. It's the detector I wanted for a long time, but I'm thinking I may, even though I just bought it and haven't had it very long, there's a little devil on my shoulder saying, hey, get something like the wife has, like a gold bug, or, I mean, I love prospecting. We're prospectors as well. We love to do that, so it makes sense for me to maybe get rid of this and get something that can hire this and handle this iron a little better, and get a machine like a gold bug like hers, or an F19, or a G2, a T2, a relic machine that will still hit the coins good, because I am a coin guy. I do like the coins, but even where the grass grows here underneath is this crappy soil. Excuse my hand shaking. It is bitter cold out here today. As you can see, Colorado is 80 degrees one day, windier than heck one day, and then the next day it's like 40 degrees right now, and I am freezing. I have a thin sweater on, so we're gonna take off, go back inside. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm not really gonna babble too much more. Love this detector. Hate my dirt. This detector is not the greatest in iron. If you have moderate to mild soil, the Land Ranger Pro, you are going to enjoy this a whole bunch. So keep an eye out for that gold bug video as well, and I'll show you how it really cuts through my iron infested dirt like butter. And keep an eye out for that adapter video where I show you all of the adapters available for these coils. I'm sorry, I'm shaking so bad. I'm getting the jitters here. It's getting even hard to talk. So, alright guys, I am out of here. The Hunter GT. I will see you on the next video.